Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of Empowering You here on WSNC 90.5 FM with me, Alvin Atkinson. Well, it's that time of the year when we really want to be engaged with each other and doing the things that will help us enjoy these hot days that are going to be coming up. But before we get into conversation about the heat, I want to talk about another need that we have in our community, and that is with foster care. And that need will be discussed by a couple of guests that we have today from Forsyth County. We have Ms. Torrie Smith, who is the Forsyth County's Department of Social Services, and she is the foster home supervisor. Hello, Torrie.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Welcome back to the studio.
Glad to be back.
And we're joined also today by Miss Cheryl Dalton, who is a foster parent, but now we know her as an adoptive parent. And we like to call her a retired foster parent. Anyway, welcome, Cheryl.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Well, Torrie, I know foster care is really still a tremendous need in our community. And I know you've been at the helm trying to address this need, but can you tell us what is the current status of foster parents in need in our community?
Well, right now there's a huge crisis. We have had probably close to maybe 50 homes in the years past, but due to COVID and a lot of our families have adopted children and they've closed out their license, our numbers are just really low right now. And so currently right now we have about 200 children in foster care, and unfortunately all of those children are not in Forsyth County. Some of them are in nearby counties and further away. So the crisis is trying to recruit families in Forsyth County. So as those children come in our custody, they can remain in their county of origin, which is Forsyth County.
Okay, and so you said almost 200 and really spread throughout the triad and beyond, really.
Yes, that's correct.
And so you're responsible for helping identify individuals who could become foster parents. Can you tell us what is that process? How would an individual become a foster parent?
Well, it starts out many ways. Our responsibility is also to recruit, and so we hold recruitment events. We attend recruitment events in the community, and where people just talk about their interests. And so it first starts off with an orientation meeting that we have every second Tuesday of the month. It's a time where you can come in, speak with us one-on-one about what it takes to become licensed, what it takes to become a foster parent. And once we do that, we get your application in, we run your criminal background checks just to make sure that's favorable, and then we also do a home assessment in order to get you in our TIPS MAP class, which is that required training that the state requires. So it's a bit of a lengthy process, but again, we're welcome and looking forward to meeting anyone who's interested in learning more about fostering.
Okay, and how long of a process would you say it would be?
It could take between 6 months or so overall. It takes about 3 months to do the home study, and then an additional 3 to 4 months to actually get the licensing process. Because what we do a lot of consultations and home visits with families, gathering documentation that's required for the licensing packet, and then there's a phase of actually getting it ready to submit to the state. So the entire process can take about 6 months or so.
Okay. Well, Cherith, may I call you Cherith?
You sure can.
Oh, that's such an unusual name. But
Yes.
I like saying it. Cherith. Ms. Dalton, how did you become involved with foster parenting?
So I was introduced to the need for foster care at a young age. My parents actually attended one of the informational sessions when I was little.
Wow.
And soon after that, my dad actually became a youth pastor, and they realized that fostering and being a youth pastor just couldn't quite work together. So it was always something that there were families in our church that did it, so it was always around me, and I was familiar with it. And I've always wanted to do it. Even growing up, I was like, I'm going to be a foster mom. That's what I'm going to be when I grow up.
Wow.
And so it's not that easy. There's a process.
Yes.
And so in North Carolina, it has to be to be licensed, it has to be a year after a major life event. So my husband and I got married, which is considered a major life event.
Absolutely.
And about a year after that, I said, so there's an interest meeting at DSS. Let's go see if this is something we can do. And he wasn't as excited about it as I was because he was nervous.
Yes.
And we went, and it's something that we both felt called to do. And so we started the process, and it did take us a little bit because we had moved in the middle of it and had to get some things settled at home. But that's how we got into it. That's how it began.
So, and when was this? What year did you do this?
So we got licensed in 2011.
2011. And so, a veteran, really. You've done this, and I think there's a process. We also introduced you as an adoptive parent. So, how did that transition come about?
So we had always said that we were fostering to foster because reunification is the goal, but we were open to adoption. So if a child became available for adoption, we wanted to pursue that. And so we fostered for 10 years, and we had the opportunity to have 10 kids in our home.
Wait a minute. Did you say how many?
10. Over 10 years. We had 10 kids over 10 years.
Wow.
And so 3 of them did become available for adoption, and so we adopted them.
Wait a minute. You said 3?
Yes.
So you adopted 3? Wow. Hey, look. Let's give her a round of applause. That is super. And I just think that's sort of indicative of the kind of people we believe we have in our community who can step up and meet this need. And I know that, in fact, I think there was a movie that had come out called... what was the name of the movie? Something about a possum.
Yeah, The Sound of Hope. Absolutely. Matter of fact, it's pre-screening today.
Okay.
But it actually comes out in movie theaters July 4th. But it's called The Sound of Hope: The Story of Possum Trot.
Okay. Can you help whet our appetites for what that story is about?
Yes, and I will tell you, it's based off the trailer I have seen, so I'm definitely not an expert.
Okay.
But yes, the trailer explains it as being a faith-based movie out of rural Texas community in which a Reverend Martin and his wife Donna ignite a huge movement within their church family to adopt 77 children that are at risk. These are like difficult placed children, and they did this between the years of 1998 to 2011. So I will tell you, it is a very tough movie to watch, but it's very real. I believe that the rating is PG-13, but it's a really good movie. You guys should definitely check it out.
Okay, yeah, we wanted to give that because it actually allows folks to see the tremendous need that is in the community, really across the country in this space.
Absolutely.
And I think, fortunately, here in our community, we've been doing this for some time now, and we continue to try to meet this need. And I know Cherith said that the goal of fostering is family unification. Tell us a little about that whole process, because that's really a goal.
Well, absolutely. So, of course, you all know that, child welfare, child protective services, we're in business because the family's going through some type of dysfunction, which is what causes children to come into foster care, for whether it's mental health, domestic violence, lack of medical care, whatever the need is, the child has to come into care. Well, despite what dysfunction was going on in the home, if it's safely for the child to return, absolutely what would be best for the child is to reunify with mom and dad. And so, yes, the courts, DSS, we give the parents 12, 15 months to kind of get it together, work on their issues. But during that time, if it determines they're not able to readdress those issues and correct those issues that were going on, then that's when they'll change the plan. What happened for the child, where they would then change the plan to adoption, and then they would become legally free by way of a family like the Daltons will be in position to adopt a family, adopt the children. But yes, the initial plan is reunification.
Okay, and again, we know that a family unit is such a powerful protective factor.
Absolutely.
And so I applaud us in our community for keeping that as the goal.
Yes.
And I know now, hearing the great story that Cherith talked about in her move from foster to adoptive, who can someone contact? Who did you contact, Cherith, to get involved with this?
We did just an interest meeting at DSS back in 2011, and then just started the process. Each family gets a licensing worker assigned to them, and so thankfully we were able to work with the same worker for 9 of those 10 years before she retired. But so you get a worker, and that's usually your person of just pinging the questions off of, and what's the process, and they're keeping you updated. And then as far as the adoption side of it, when a child becomes available for adoption, you actually get a new social worker that's on the adoptive side, and they help you through that process.
Great. Okay, then. So now we've gotten our listeners informed let's give them contact information on how they can actually reach out, talk to someone, and really go down this road of being a true resource for our community.
Yes, absolutely. We have a DSS foster home licensing recruitment line. That number is 336-703-2445. No one answers the phone. It actually is a line that you have to leave a message for. We take it daily. We will call you back, and we will just help you the best way we can based on what your need is. You could also go to our website, www.forsyth.cc. There's a link up there regarding foster home licensing recruitment where you could submit an application. You could also find out about what our interest meeting. So those are the best two ways at this point in order to make in contact with us to foster.
Okay, and Cherith, I'm going to let you close us out with this. Give your pitch for an individual to become a foster parent.
Oh, goodness.
Yes.
That's a high calling right there. I think that it's important because everybody can do something. Not everyone can foster. Not everyone should foster, but more people should. And so there's a way for everyone to be involved. There's so many opportunities in our community to come around foster families, but we really need those support systems to help build up the foster families so that it is an easier process to foster. We couldn't have done it without my family. We had people bringing us meals. I had people doing our laundry, and so if we need foster families, and then we need the support system around them.
Great, the support system, and that is a great thing to end this with. Forsyth County, our listeners, let's be that support system for what we do for our youth here in Forsyth County. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having us.